when the narcissist is put on the defense. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So usually the narcissist had you on the defense. This is why you were oversharing information. This is why you were explaining so many things. This is why you were telling them where you were, what you were doing, what time you would be home, where you went for lunch, who you were talking to, who you weren't talking to, what you were doing for them, what they wanted you to do for them, and so many more things. The narcissist wanted to continue to feed off of you. You had to do what they wanted you to do, and if you didn't do it, you would be punished. If you did it, you would still be punished for doing anything that they wanted you to do. You see, you can't win when you're in these narcissistic relationships. You can never get your bearings. You can never come up from the ocean of abuse to catch your breath because you're being peppered with abuse over and over and over again. Picture you in an ocean. And that ocean, like I shared a moment ago, it's an ocean of abuse. And there are little waves, medium waves, there are tidal waves, there are tsunamis, there are earthquakes in the ocean. You are being spun around in turbulent seas. That is how you were existing when you were in the narcissistic relationship. You could never, and I mean never, look and see where the beautiful abundance would be because you were too busy putting out the fires that the narcissist was starting intentionally, and you were too busy trying to tread water in a relationship that was sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into the abyss. The narcissist knew what they were doing. They had done it before. They did it with you. They did it with you, and truth be told, is they're doing it right now if they're still gallivanting the globe looking for other sources of supply. But the narcissist wanted you to be on defense. This is why when you're in the relationship, they told you, you'll never amount to anybody. You'll never be anything without me. You need me. You know that I'm the most important person in your life. You know that you can't do anything without me. You're nothing without me. They would plant seeds of doubt, seeds of despair, seeds of wondering, seeds of uncertainty, and seeds of listening to them. This is why you had that invisible leash around you, if you will, or that invisible tether. And that's why the narcissist, let's say you went to a cocktail party or an event, that's why the narcissist was controlling you, whether they were standing right next to you or if they were clearly across the room, because you were watching them and observing who they were talking to, if they were laughing, if they were batting their eyelashes, if they were getting a little too close to somebody, or if they were lathering up a new source of supply. This is all before you even knew what supply was, before you knew what narcissism was, before you knew what toxicity was, and probably before you knew what boundaries were, what empathy was, and that different people on the planet have different agendas for everybody else. And at the top of that list, the hidden agenda master manipulator, it's the narcissist. And this is why the narcissist kept you off kilter. This is why you were walking around on eggshells. This is why when the front door would open, you didn't know if it would be Dr. Jekyll or Mr. or Mrs. Hyde opening the door. You didn't know if you would be peppered with abuse or questioned or asking them where they were, even though they would give you the silent treatment. You see, as I shared with you earlier, no matter what you did, it was never good enough. And the narcissist knew that. They were burning you out, and you were always on the defense. The more you gave to them, the less they needed from you. The less they needed from you, the more you wanted to stay with them. The more you wanted to stay with them, the more you try to patch up an irreparable relationship. And the less supply or the less resources you eventually had, and something gave, something broke, something snapped. And that's when your health took a hit, your finances went to zero, you lost your job, you couldn't pay the mortgage, you had a car from 20 years ago and they didn't think that was good enough, or they found a new source of supply with deeper pockets, or maybe somebody 10, 20 years younger, or maybe somebody who was about to inherit a boatload of money, or maybe somebody who owned their own company and ran the company business, or maybe somebody who was a parasite from their parent who was giving them a job through nepotism, and they didn't even lift a finger to work. They had too much free time, and they were just driving around in the fancy sports car and going to all the hot yoga classes and going to all of the gym exercises and the golf clubs and all that, and they just looked like they were a fun person to be around. Well, now you'd realize that that person had too much free time on their hands, and they were trying to keep you trapped in that narcissistic abusive cycle, the mindset. And this is why you did anything you could to stay in the relationship. Again, if you knew what narcissism was, you would have run for the hills. You would have disappeared. You would have said thank you, but no thank you. There are 8.3 billion people on the planet. I'll find somebody else to enter a relationship with. But again, the narcissists wore a mask. They manipulated you. They learned about you, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your educational background, your values, your relationships, your money, your purpose, your everything about you. And once they figured out everything they needed to know about you, and truth be told, it didn't take them long to do that because you were naive, you were an open book, you were empathetic, and you were probably wearing your heart on your sleeve, and you were vulnerable and uneducated on the narcissistic abusive cycle. So once you shared with them all the information they needed, all they had to do was figure out which direction to point you in, wind you up, and set you off. Meaning, when I say set you off, I don't mean to blow up your life immediately. I mean tell you what to do, begin to control you, begin to steer your energy and steer your attention, steer your purpose, and steer your money. This is why the narcissist kept so many secrets from you. Tens of thousands of secrets, truth be told, and you probably learned maybe a couple hundred, maybe 1,000. I can't tell you how many you learned, but I can tell you that you only know a fraction of who that person was. You never really knew them because they really didn't exist. That person was a shapeshifter. They were a master manipulator. They were wearing a mask and they had you on the defense the whole time. Now flip it. When you were in the relationship and you would put them on the defense, and yes, you did it way more times than probably you even knew, meaning you would call them up and say, hey, I just got a strange text from you, and it seems like this text isn't meant for me. It seems like it's meant for somebody else. Is it your trainer you're trying to text? That 20-some-year-old person? I don't know, but this text isn't for me. And then they would say, oh my gosh, this is the unintentional text that I sent to you, and I'm acting like I'm the narcissist, but I'm not. And now I have their attention again, and now I will blame them, and I'll put them on the defense. What are you talking about? That's not meant for the trainer, or that's not your business. See, they do so many creepy, strange, peculiar things that you never knew about. So you probably know what the butt dial is. What is a butt dial? It's when somebody claims, wink, wink, that they called you unintentionally. Now, way back when, yeah, butt dials did exist. But now the narcissist has mastered those, but not just with the butt dial, with the intentional text that's supposed to be unintentional or allegedly not meant for you. I shared this in a video a couple weeks ago. Think about this. Think about the times, and I am sure this happened with you, that the narcissist would leave their smartphone sitting out. Maybe it was on the kitchen counter, maybe it was on a table, maybe it was on the bed, maybe it was in the bathroom, maybe it was in their car. I don't know where it was, but they left their phone out and it wasn't locked. Why do you think they would leave their phone out and it wasn't locked so you would have access to it? Do you think that was an accident? No, it wasn't. Do you think it was deliberate? Yes, it was. Why do you think the narcissist would do that? Because they wanted you to find out information about what they were doing, so then you would call them out and say, hey, what are you doing? You told me you're going to be home last night at 5 o'clock. You didn't get home till 10:30, and now I'm reading this text, and it seems like you were out having cocktails with your boss or something. And they would say, what are you talking about? They would put you on the defense and spin it around saying, I never said that, or what do you mean? Or what are you doing looking at my texts? The whole point is the narcissist laid out thousands of traps when you're in that relationship, and you fell into most of them without even knowing it. Now you're understanding what narcissism is. Now you're understanding how these people work. Now you're understanding how these people operate, and that they are always looking to misdirect people, misinform people, misrepresent themselves, and they're looking to keep people on the defense. So now when you would be calling them out, again, you didn't know what narcissism was. And when I say calling them out when you're in the relationship, I'm not saying call them the narcissist, because you didn't even know what narcissism was. I'm saying you would ask them questions, very simple questions. Example, let's say that it was 8:30 at night, and they told you that they had to put gas in the car. And you told them that you just filled it up yesterday, the gas is full. And they said, no, I have to top it up, I've got to go. And you're like, what are you talking about? It's 8:30, the gas station's going to close in 10 minutes, or there's no reason to do that. But they would go anyway. Why do you think they would do that? Well, it wasn't to put gas in the car. It was probably to top up with, yes, you got it, ding, 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 the new supply. Now, the new supply could have been a person they met in physical proximity. It could have been somebody they're talking to on their smartphone or calling up. It could have been your best friend they were cheating on you with. I can't tell you. What I can tell you is when you would call them out when they came home, let's say a little bit later than they claimed that they would be, because to go to the gas station and fill it up or top it up, even though it didn't need gas, maybe it would take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but they would come home an hour and a half later, and you'd be asking them what's going on. Hey, where were you? You didn't answer your phone. What's going on here? Well, again, what do? They don't want to be on the defense. So they would flip it around on you and probably give you the silent treatment or blame you for something you did 10 years ago, misdirect your energy and attention, and here we go again. Now you're trapped in the narcissistic abusive cycle again. When you're in the relationship, from the minute you met that person till the minute you got out, you were always trapped in that cycle. You just didn't know it. And truth be told, post-relationship, as you're getting the wisdom, you're still untethering yourself from the narcissist. You're not physically in the same vicinity as them, at least that's my hope. But remember, there are 4 ties that must be cut: the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. They will be cut by you. Don't think the narcissist is going to cut them. You need to cut them, and you need to get off the radar of the narcissist. Go no contact, block them, delete them, remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If you can't do it now, I get it. Understand you're going to have to utilize gray rock, but eventually get ready to create, develop, and execute your exit plan. The further you get away from the narcissist, the clearer your mind gets. The clearer your mind gets, the stronger you get. The stronger you get, the weaker they get. The weaker they get, the more they will blame you for what you did or didn't do in the relationship. Not to you, because you're not talking to them any longer, to other people. And they will leverage your relationship with them to monkey branch to get a new person. But when the narcissist is on the defense, when they're put on the defense, this happens way more than you would know. It happens to them in the workplace. It happens to them when they are buying a coffee at the coffee shop. It happens to them when somebody cuts them off in traffic. It happens to them when anybody questions them about why they did what they did, or where they were, or why they didn't do what they're supposed to do, or how come they didn't pay the bill, or why they weren't doing what they're supposed to be doing with other things. And the narcissist doesn't want to be on the defense. They can't handle being on the defense. And you may say, that's true, but why, Andrew? Why don't they want to be on the defense? Well, because for them to be on the defense, they would have to either do one of 2 things. 1, be honest, authentic, and accountable, which will never happen in this lifetime or any lifetime of the toxic parasite. Or B, come up with another fabricated story that they weren't prepared to tell on the fly. Think about what I just shared with you. The narcissist is not a good person. They're not a sharp thinker. This is why the narcissist usually, if you try to make plans with them, they'd say, well, let me think about it. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's wait. I can't tell you right now. I'll figure it out. They'll put you on hold because they're trying to figure out A, if something better is going to come up, or B, what they can get from that experience if it benefits them, not you. Or you could say C, to try to appease you so you get stuck in the narcissistic abusive cycle more and more. Any way you cut it, there are tens of thousands of layers of the onion to be peeled back. Once you peel one back, 3 more need to be peeled back. Once you peel back one of those, there are 6 more that need to be peeled back, and on and on and on. Because what the narcissist told you from the minute you met them till the minute it ended, or you finally went no contact and cut the ties from them, most of that was not true. A lot of it was lies. Some of it may have been little slivers of the truth. Maybe a little bit was true. But you'll never know the truth with the narcissist because they can't be vulnerable and they can't tell you the truth. They want to keep people in the dark. So when the narcissist is put on the defense, this is not what they want. They don't want to be on the hot seat. They want to be the person putting another person on the defense. The narcissist wants to control narratives, control relationships, control time, control money, control health, hobbies, and what people do in any 24-hour period of their life. That's why when somebody has control, they are not on the defense. When somebody doesn't have control, they are on the defense. Play that part of the video, play it a few times. That's why when the shoe is on the other foot, the narcissist can't handle it. There was a famous movie that came out decades ago, and in that movie it was called You Can't Handle the Truth. Well, the narcissist can't handle the truth. As soon as they catch a whiff or a scent that someone's waking up and figuring out who they are and what they did, usually they will blame that person, put them on the defense, or call them the narcissist, and they will ramp up the efforts to insert the next new supply source or on how to discard that person. But anyway you cut it, the narcissist doesn't want to be put on the defense. They don't like it. They don't want the onus or the spotlight on them being questioned. The narcissist wants the spotlight on other people. The narcissist wants to question other people. The narcissist needs to keep people trapped, wondering, pining, stuck, thinking, hoping. And the narcissist does this very well until when? That's right, until they don't. You need to understand something. When the narcissist is put on the defense and they don't know it's coming, this will shock them. It will sting them. It will create a narcissistic injury. Maybe not a big one, maybe a small one. I can't tell you, but the narcissist likes to surprise people, to shock people, and to intimidate and bully people. and they want to misdirect people, the narcissist doesn't want anything other than to have control over people. So when you were putting the narcissist on the defense, example, when you were in the relationship, hey, where were you? I called you, I texted you. All they would be doing is saying, okay, they have they were wondering where I was. They're still lathered up. They're still tethered to me. I'm not going to give them the answer. I'll flip it on them and blame shift them or tell them something else or give them the silent treatment. And then that keeps you stuck longer and longer because the narcissist never answered your questions. Now, fast forward, ending the relationship. When it ends, it usually ends with a thought, a crash, and a bang. It comes out of left field. There's your discard. When the narcissist discards somebody, it's usually because they have a new source of supply lined up, or the person, which was me and possibly you, had too many health challenges, no money, credit card debt, all these things. Any way you look at it, the narcissist discard is just around the corner if you are in these relationships. And if you were in one and you're out now, you know what I'm talking about. It's completely accurate. On top of all these things, what the narcissist will do, and this is a very important part of the video, post-relationship for you, let's say you've been out of the relationship for a year, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever. The narcissist, eventually, people will be waking up. People you've never met, people you will never meet, but they will be questioning and they will be saying, wait a minute, something's wrong with some of your stories. I don't get it. This is husband or wife number 5. This is a third new business that you're starting, although you filed for bankruptcy the last 2 times. You've relocated 7 times in the last year, and you haven't paid a mortgage, a landlord once. You keep getting new cars on alleged bestie's dime, wink, wink. People all over the planet are becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered on narcissism. And I'm not referring to the people that were trapped in the cycle like you or myself. I'm referring to other people. Many people who have never even been in a narcissistic relationship not only know what the word means, they don't know it the way you know it or I know it, but they are aware of what the word means, and they are now beginning to pull back from people, and they're beginning to realize, wait, something's wrong here. I will give you the best example for this video, and maybe the best example I've ever shared in almost all my 5,000 videos I've created. Here it is. You have 2 people. One person's the narcissist, the other person's an empath. They were in a relationship for a period of time. Let's say it was romantic, although it didn't have to be, but let's say it was 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was. One of the 2 people ends the relationship with the other one abruptly via discard, okay? The person who is discarded is the empath, probably you, definitely me. The other person, the toxic parasite, then the very next day and afterwards acts like nothing happened, and they're out dancing, living it up, drinking champagne with the new supply, intimacy left, right, and center, just doing everything and blaming the other person, which was you. The person who's the toxic person, the narcissist or toxic, whatever you call it, they act like nothing mattered and that everything was the other person's fault. Okay, that's probably what happened to you. It definitely happened to me. The person who is discarded after giving everything for all that period of time, that person is nowhere to be found. And why they're nowhere to be found, you should know by now. It's because they're healing. It's because they've been abused. It's because the smear campaign is well underway. It's because the narcissist, the toxic person who discarded the other person, has a loud voice, and they've been planting the ending of that relationship for quite a long period of time once they got whatever they wanted. So I'll say it a different way, then I'm going to close this video. Again, you had 2 people. One person's toxic, one person's healthy or stable. The toxic person ends the relationship abruptly. The healthy, stable person has no idea what's going on. They don't know about narcissism, and they stay in what I call the cocoon of boundaries. They heal and they figure out humanity and how it works and learn what gaslighting is and how this other person could just end it like that. The other person's out living life and dancing and buying all the fancy clothes and going all these trips with all these other strange people, i.e. groupies or new supply sources, acting like nothing ever happened, but the whole time blaming the other person who is stuck in the cocoon of boundaries. There is a narcissistic definition right there. 2 people, 1 relationship, 1 abuser, 1 person giving to a fault. The abuser ends the relationship on a dime because they are jaded, bored, and they took whatever they could. They discard that person. That the narcissist discards the empath, and the empath can't go back out and live life like that. It doesn't happen. That's why you're on the healing path. That's why this is the relationship you need to heal from. That's why the narcissist slithers off onto new sources of supply so effortlessly, because they have nothing to heal from, because they don't care. They never cared. And what they wanted to do was put you and everybody else on the defense with the loudest voice in the room. But when the shoe's on the other foot and people are blocking the narcissist more and more and more, and they're not giving them attention, money, energy, the time of day, that's when the narcissist will have to look inward. And that's when they will be on the side of the freeway with 2 flat tires, no cell phone service, and they have no gas in their car, and 2 suitcases halfway packed. They will have just been booted out of someone else's house because they didn't get the chance to discard this person. This other person wised up and removed them. And now the narcissist, all the doors are being closed on them, and now they're on the defense, but they don't have an audience to perform for any longer. That's the demise of the narcissist. Play this video, play it a few times. It doesn't end well for the narcissist. You may think it does. It doesn't. They still have to be in their mind 24/7. They still need to distract themselves. They still need supply. They still need to manipulate, to lie, to steal, and to cheat. You need to heal. That's why when the narcissist is put on the defense, they can't handle it. They never could, they never will now, and they won't in the future. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Remember a couple things. If you are still flirting with the narcissist, I'm not talking sexual innuendos flirting. I'm saying if you're still playing with fire and you know who they are and you haven't gone no contact yet and blocked them, what are you waiting for? You need to change. The narcissist will never change. So if you're still holding on to a little breadcrumb of hope, or thinking that they do love you, or they did care about you, or you can help them or save them, or you feel sorry for them or whatever, you need to understand they know that about you. And if you leave any avenue of communication open to them, they will slither back into your life if you allow them. You can't allow them. That's why you need to close the chapter of the book on the narcissist once and for all. You need to heal and heal properly and get off the radar of the narcissist. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.